What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Zero to Here podcast. Tonight's episode with our good friend, residential mortgage broker Alex D'Angelo. Obviously, the big topic in the news, the big health scare right now, which has got most of you inside your homes for last week, is the coronavirus. And we're just kind of chatting about how it is affecting local real estate and the finance industry. This is a pretty informative topic, and I learned a lot. I think you're going to learn a lot. If you're interested in refinancing or taking advantage of these low interest rates right now, chat with your mortgage broker. Alex is a good one. If you don't have one, enjoy. Big changes in our businesses in the last couple weeks, eh?
Yes, there has been.
It's funny looking back, not necessarily funny, but interesting looking back a month from now, or a month previous, and just seeing a bunch of pictures on social media and assuming this was a lot less impactful globally than it has become in the last couple weeks.
And, I think about that, and then I also think, to know that this is being recorded on March 20th.
Yeah.
This might be released March 23rd. But, imagine someone who's listening to this on, April 15th and be like, those guys had no idea.
Yeah.
If you don't, because it's exponential, it might get, significantly worse. But, yeah, in terms of, businesses and the economy, if you look at, your stock portfolio or just how markets have been doing, it's, insane how much has changed in such a short amount of time.
I want to stay away from, predictions and things like that in terms of the actual medical side of what is happening right now.
I agree.
Because we are not educated on that stuff.
Yeah.
And we're just hearing it through a bunch of different types of sources and trying to figure out what is accurate and what's not accurate.
Totally, yeah.
But more, I just want to use this as an opportunity to kind of share with the public how things are changing in our industries, and how business is continuing moving forward, kind of.
Okay.
First things, let's maybe chat about. I know there's been a lot on social media about interest rates, but maybe just explain what has happened. And it's been really, really quick. It's been in the last 2 weeks.
Insanely quick.
Yeah.
So, man, stuff sounds so lame to talk about interest rates. I feel like I need a pair of glasses, but
I think it's interesting though, because this is unprecedented territory,
absolutely.
Right?
It's completely.
Has Bank of Canada ever announced two rates within a week, two drops within a week?
Well, I think they have, but it would have been around World War II.
Yeah.
I think it's called measures like this. I've never seen them done, where they're dropping, the variable rates are dropping because of basically the Bank of Canada, by dropping their overnight lending rate. That's the rate that banks lend to other banks. By dropping that, you're dropping basically the cost of money. So, and that is a result of the economy getting shit kicked. Because when the economy gets shit kicked and stocks fall and companies fall and everything goes really bad, by making money cheaper, it encourages people to spend money because it's cheaper to borrow money. And also it doesn't pay as much to save money. So think about it
how, from a government of Canada perspective though, how cheap do you need to make money to encourage people who are also being encouraged to stay inside their home for the next 3 weeks? How cheap does money have to be for you to actually be oh yeah, actually this is kind of cool, I can go spend more money?
Well,
most people are pretty conservative.
Yeah,
right
but
now.
You're looking at it from a very macro or micro. You're looking at it from one of those perspectives. You got to think of it
those are two very different perspectives.
One of them is looking at that, but one of them you have to look at the countries and huge corporations.
So I'm thinking very macro.
Yeah, macro.
No, micro, small.
Macro would be the countries. Micro would be me. So that's a micro perspective. So I'm not going to go get a salad from Cactus Club tonight because money's cheaper.
Yeah.
But companies, when money, because interest rates, they lower everything. So if you think of the 80s, right? The economy was so hot that, every person had a job. Every person had a 2-car garage. Money is just going everywhere. The government jacked up interest rates so high. So your mortgage was 20%, but your savings account was 18%. So what that does is encourages people to save and not borrow. And what that does, it's like throwing water on a fire. It just goes, psst, everything settles down. But now during economic times where things are really difficult, the overnight lending rate, the Bank of Canada rate drops. And this, it's weird how they can control everything with this one rate. So they can control unemployment with this by making money cheaper. businesses expand, more people get jobs. When you make money more expensive, people, they kind of stick to what they're doing and unemployment will go up. So it's like they control a lot of things with this rate. But the problem is this rate is getting really close to zero. It's getting really close to zero. It's at 0.75 right now. The Fed, that's the US Bank of Canada, they're at zero. So the next step is going the other way, which means, like, I know this is going to be like for some people, but now banks, if it was to go to positive, banks would be paying you to have a mortgage. So instead of you paying them interest, they're paying you to borrow their money. And that's happened in the world before because people don't know where to keep money. And that's a very bad thing. So that's why when it gets to zero, it's very scary because you can't keep going much more.
Do you see that happening? I don't see that happening in Canada. Because
I don't know.
From a consumer perspective, even if it goes down to zero, which from some different podcasts I've heard with economists and stuff like that, they're talking that is very realistic in the next few weeks.
Are you talking about you're talking about the Canadian or the American? Because like
Canadian, the lending rate in Canada.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's 0.75 now. Mm-hmm. It's dropped 1% in the last 2 weeks.
No, it's dropped 0.75%, I believe.
I thought it was 0.5 and 0.5.
I thought it was 0.25 then, or 0.5 then 0.25.
0.5.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Carl, can you bring that up to me? You can Google it. Because they have their meetings 8 times a year, and then they had an emergency one.
A week later, right? Wasn't it like a week after?
It was a week after, yeah.
So obviously from our industries, we're relating that drop to like consumers' residential mortgages mostly. But outside of mortgages, what is that rate affecting?
Okay, so that rate that I just told you about, that overnight lending rate, that only affects variable rate mortgages because that is basically how banks base their prime rate. And a prime rate, so like your prime rate might be like prime is currently, let's say prime's 2.95. So your interest rate would look like prime minus 0.7. So if interest rates are 2.95, yours is 2.25 because prime is 2.95, your discount is 0.7, your interest rate is so that rides with the bank. That's why it's called a variable because as that rate changes, right? So if it goes up, now you're still prime minus 0.7, but now if prime is 3.5, your interest rate's now 2.8. So it's fluid, right? But fixed rates in Canada are based off something different. They're based off bond yields, like Bank of Canada bond yields. So that's kind of like an investment that the Canadians have, and that's what determines fixed rates. So right now what's happening, like just this week, and like fixed rates are hard to talk about, man, because like for the last 3 weeks we saw them fall. In the last 3 or 4 days, like almost daily they're changing. They went up very aggressively. So variables going like this, fixed is going like this. The whole point is no one really knows what's going on right now. That's basically what's happening. Fuck, it's like stressful to think about because I'm thinking of all the emails I have right now, people asking about this. So fixed rates are going up pretty aggressively. And there's a couple of reasons why that happens. But basically they're going up because the bond yields, which these rates are based off, are going up. And the reasons bond yields go up, there's different reasons why they go up. Some people are thinking they're going up because the government, like the bank is like buying back all these bonds, which is causing the yield to go up. But like the yield's increasing. Like anyone who's listening, do this. Go to your computer, go 5-year bond yield Canada, click that graph, and you can kind of watch how when that drops, you see fixed rates drop. And when that goes up, you'll see fixed rates go up. And you can see just in this last week, it started going up. And that's why the fixed rate mortgage market goes up.
Have you had many people, I've heard this a lot recently, saying like, oh, rates are going down, we should lock in.
Yeah.
How do you answer that question?
Yeah, you should.
You should lock in.
Well, like this is the thing. If like you mean going from variable to fixed?
Correct.
Oh no, sorry.
You're in a current variable mortgage.
Oh no, sorry. I thought you meant like just I'm looking to buy. Should I lock in a fixed rate now? Like I'm a fixed rate client. I have nothing to do with variables.
No.
No, in that case, I don't think because like I think variable is going to continue to fall. Like prime's going to continue to go down. So your mortgage, if you're a variable, you're going to keep getting cheaper. But with that said, remember when I described variable mortgages, I described it as prime minus a number. The banks are shortening that number recently. So it used to be prime minus 0.8. And now it's prime minus, let's say 0.5. So even though the prime rate is coming down, your rate's actually kind of staying the same because the bank's discount is becoming less. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So with the most recent point, I think it was the second one was 0.5.
It says that both were 50 basis points.
Okay, so it went from 1.75
to
1.25
0.75 within like
yeah.
a week and a half, whatever it was.
Because one was their actual meeting and then one was their emergency meeting.
I think that was announced last Friday.
It was very
The
recent.
second one?
Yeah.
So in the last week, have banks kind of like pushed that drop onto consumers?
Well, what happens is
variable?
like, man, this is complicated stuff, but because the Bank of Canada drops that overnight lending rate, the banks don't necessarily need to follow. They can keep their
Right.
prime rate what it is, right?
Yeah.
But in general, they will follow. Like the way it should work is that the prime rate should be the overnight lending rate. Like we're talking about during a healthy economy time, it should be kind of the overnight lending rate +2 in general.
Mm-hmm.
So some banks, it takes them a week to go down, but if one bank drops their prime rate, everyone has to, because now money is going to be 0.5% cheaper at Scotia than it is at CIBC.
Yeah.
So they kind of like the big banks, as much as people are like loyal to the banks, they're literally the exact same thing.
And have they done that this week?
Yeah.
They've dropped 0.5.
They've dropped, like prime rates have gone down.
So what's a current variable mortgage look like right now? Prime minus what?
It depends on the lender, it depends on the product, but like for example, like you might get a better discount if you do a 25-year mortgage than a 30-year mortgage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When the risk is, it's just like fixed rates. If the risk is smaller, the bank will offer a greater discount. But like you're looking like maybe prime minus 0.5 to 0.7 right now. But like there wasn't too long ago, I remember seeing prime minus 0.95, which is like, that's a huge spread. Huge.
So
And
if
like,
you're in one of those mortgages now, prime is 0.75.
yeah.
So your mortgage is down to 1.85.
Well, yeah, like if prime right now is like realistically, like you see a lot of primes with banks right now around 2.95. So if your mortgage is 2%, which is insane, because right now, like as of like today, like I just got rate notifications today where now some of the big banks, your 5-year fix is going to be 3.25.
Mm-hmm.
And like realistically, during normal times, the variable and the fixed should be kind of close. You might get a little bit cheaper on the variable because there's no risk to the bank. Rates go up, your rate goes up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they shouldn't be 1.5% off. Like that's too much of a spread.
Mm-hmm.
They should be maybe 0.25% off. So that's just like, again, I don't mean to bore you guys with the economics, but like that's like a sign of kind of like what's happening right now.
No, I think it's interesting. For your business specifically, are you seeing a change in like consumer confidence? Like, and let's talk specifically about like people who you've been working with for the last couple months or whatever, who are looking to purchase. Are some of those people sitting on the sidelines right now, or are they looking at interest rates dropping 1% in the last couple weeks, which is insane, and saying, oh, this is a good opportunity?
Like, that's a good question. The thing is, with what's happening now, like with what's happening just with the economy, like there's no real place. And then like there's different people who are different types of like investors and like how they live their lives, but there's no real place to keep money. What are you gonna do? Buy gold? Gold gets shit kicked. Buy bonds? Bonds got shit kicked. Buy stocks? Stocks got shit kicked. Keep it in cash? Inflation's eating away your returns, right? Like, I think a lot of people understand, like, if this does keep getting worse, like probably one of the safer places to have it is in like residential properties, because people will need a place to live. And like the government doing this thing where they're gonna, start like helping people with their mortgage payments and helping people with their rent payments. People, like, you don't have to own a Microsoft stock. You don't have to own a McDonald's stock, but you need a place to live. So that's why I think it's kind of safer to put money there. Again, that's an opinion, but that's why I think you're not going to see the market be as effective as like whatever the Dow Jones, which is down 30% in the last 2 weeks,
And I don't want to sound like unconcerned or anything, but I'm more just trying to explore, and Carl and I were talking about this the other day, exploring like how a global pandemic like this is affecting like individual small businesses in a community like Greater Vancouver. So like, are you seeing clients who you've like done pre-approvals with, gone through that, got all the docs together, they're out looking at properties? Have you seen them like taking a seat on the sidelines, or are they still super active?
So what I've seen is like, basically I've broken this whole pandemic down from my business to 3 type of clients and how I can help them. The first type of clients is prospective home buyers, people who are looking, kind of shopping, thinking of what they can do. They're not at the stage yet where they have an accepted offer. They're kind of just looking at it. For them, I think they see an opportunity in cheap money. I'd say for them it's split 50-50. Some see the opportunity in cheap money, and some have a fear of the market dropping, so they don't want to enter at this point.
Okay.
The second type of client I have is people who are between the stages of they have an accepted offer and completion. Okay, very common. So like that 2-month period, with things changing so quickly and banks changing what they're doing now, because now banks are doing second calls to the people's employers, being like, does this person still have a job?
Really?
So yeah, so that's scary because now this like because the changing, right? Banks are getting cold feet too. So like, are we going to see people start to lose their deposits?
Can they do that?
Yeah, they can, and they do.
A bank can say, go fuck yourself after already giving you a firm approval?
Yeah, there's every mortgage commitment has something in the commitment being like, if things change, like for example, like like when I talk about mortgage, I talk about A lenders, like the big, like the RBC, BMO, CIBC, Scotia, TD. They base their loan amounts on income versus debt. How much income do you have versus how much debt do you carry? If you are buy a place, they give you an approval, you satisfy all your conditions, and then your numbers make sense, and you go and buy a Porsche, and they find now that's on your credit bureau, and it comes to the bank, and they're like, well, now this guy's numbers are, at 65% because he now has a $2,000 a month payment to Porsche Canada. Yeah, they can pull that back, and every single commitment you see will have if your financial if things change, we can take this back. And now it's scary because people are losing their jobs. Now because normally what happens is the bank goes, hey, does Sally work for you at Mr. Lube? And the guy goes, yeah, Sally works here. She's a full-time employee. She makes $20 an hour. She's worked here since 2015. The bank goes, thank you, and click. And that's it. But now the bank has made that call, and now it's 2 months into the process. The people are, a couple weeks away from closing, and they're like, does Sally still work there? And they're like, actually, no, we had to let Sally go because no one's coming anymore. And that's causing problems. And these are things that no one the media and stuff. These are issues that no one's talking about. But these are real problems because deposits and it's also what's going to happen now? Is the government going to cover these deposits? Because the government is throwing just an insane amount of capital into this. They're thinking of paying people's deferring mortgage payments, helping people with EIs, assistance for people who are self-employed. Are these deposits really going to be lost? There's so much uncertainty on what's happening right now. Anyways, the third type of client I have is people who've already have closed transactions, and they want to talk about what's happening with this. What happens? Can I do the most common question I'm asking is, do I still have to pay my mortgage? What do I do? Who do I call? And then there's a list of lenders. You got to contact your lender directly and be like, this is my situation. You have to explain what's happening. And it's up, I guess it's their discretion. There's just so much that's unsure right now. Mm-hmm. I've been in banking since I've been 21 years old. This is the first time I ever remember calling bankers and being like, what's going on? And then being like, fuck if I know. I have no idea. Because banks are so concrete and old, mm-hmm. Everything's black and white. So now that hearing I don't know it's a weird answer to get.
Have you heard any more details in the last couple of days about that deferring mortgage payments? Because it was just really announced when? Tuesday?
Yeah, Tuesday or Wednesday was announced. It's what happens is Trudeau does his little speech the day before. Everyone's like, this is what he's going to say. So basically, yeah. So what they're doing is they're saying they're going to help. They're committing amount of money to help, but the pathway on what's going to happen is not clear yet. How is this going to look? Mm-hmm. So today I probably had maybe half a dozen calls of people being like, hey, I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay. I can't pay my mortgage anymore. What do I do? And then I give them the number that we've been provided. Call, and then out of those 6 people, 6 of them calling back being like, I can't get through. I've been on hold for 4 hours.
I called 3 yesterday, but one of them I got through fairly quickly, 5-minute hold, which I'm impressed with. So good for them.
That was a local.
That was a local credit union.
Exactly.
That was not.
It's not TD's head office in Toronto taking in 40,000 calls.
Yeah, Scotiabank's call line just ends the call immediately.
Yeah, that's most big banks right now. Yeah,
you call them and it pretends like it answers and then it just disconnects.
Yeah, I had a file.
There must be just so many phone calls.
Totally.
Yeah,
I had people today being like, "What do I do?" It just keeps disconnecting. I'm like, There's just no infrastructure for the process.
Totally.
There's just a bunch of money that the government's going to throw at it, mm-hmm. but there's no infrastructure on what it's going to look like. Who's going to be we're both self-employed. Can we get this?
So that one Westminster Savings, basically all they did was connect me with a credit specialist person. I'm not sure what her title was. And she said, we don't really know what's going on yet. Exactly like your situation. We don't really know what's going on yet. we're trying to work out a system. We're just taking down phone numbers, asking people how many months they want to defer for, and we're going to call everyone back once. We're going to call everyone back.
And that's their system.
Maybe
There
for
is no
Westminster,
system, man.
it's only like 100,000 clients. I don't know.
Yeah.
But for someone like Scotia, it's like a couple million.
I know,
Like how many people? How
yeah.
many people have mortgages at Scotia?
Like so many. And I was reading today, like the amount of
How
people.
are they calling everyone back? How many people do they have calling people?
Well, like the system, like
gonna
the
take
whole
months to
system's
call people
overwhelmed,
back.
right? Like I was talking to someone today and I said, like, you know, with what's going on, doctors, nurses, basically health professionals, like they are the front lines. Like that's the front line because health is the most important.
Yeah.
But like frighteningly close behind is finance and money.
Totally.
So you have like an army of bankers and whatever, mortgage brokers, investment specialists who are really in the middle of a shitstorm right now. Like I would not want to be a stockbroker right now. Holy. But like that's just to kind of help people more make money. But like the bankers who are trying to protect people's like mortgages and stuff like that, like what's gonna happen if someone loses their job and like let's say 40% of the population can't pay their mortgage? Are you still gonna charge them? Like what is it just gonna be everyone's houses for sale? Like there's just so much uncertainty, man. There's so much. Like no one knows what the fuck is going on.
Have you heard any details on how that program could possibly work, though?
Bas-
Let's say all those banks, as advertised with these articles I've been seeing, will allow people, I guess, case by case basis. But again, like, what is the infrastructure to individually go through? For someone like Scotia, let's say on the low end, 1 million different mortgages.
Oh my god, more than that. Yeah.
Let's say low end, whatever. Let's say 1 million for an easy number. What's the infrastructure for?
Because we're talking just residential mortgages. There's commercial business. There's line. Like there's so much there.
Let's just use an easy number, 1 million.
Okay.
How many like months is that going to take?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like,
It's
so,
gonna be a lot of work.
and like, what is the process of like judging or like assessing people's, let's say your situation is 8 out of 10 because you've lost your job, you don't have any income, whatever. Someone else who's also called is like a 2 out of 10 because they're still working 80% of the time or whatever. Like,
I don't know.
no one
Like
knows.
no one knows.
Okay, let's say the program actually comes into effect. Let's say 3 weeks from now, everyone that
Well, it's gonna be a deferral program, not a cancellation program.
100%.
Yeah. So people thinking they're just gonna get free money, like that doesn't exist. It's gonna be deferred money.
So interest is still going to accumulate. I'm assuming.
I don't even know about that. Maybe they just pause the system. Like there's no interest accumulation for this period of time.
I can't see a bank being like, yeah, no problem. They'll probably just be like, okay, your payments can be deferred 6 months, but interest on the loan is still going to accumulate.
Yeah, because if they don't, they're taking in the cost. Like something people really don't understand, and I hate to be the person to say this. Oh God, I hate myself right now. But like, money doesn't come. Like I've heard people be like, "Why doesn't the government just make more money?" Like you just can't do that. Like someone's gonna have to incur the costs, and like people think that they're benefiting in the short term by something that's actually hurting them more than anyone else. Like the government deferring these and the banks sucking up these costs. That's not necessarily good for everyday people.
Hmm.
You know, it might help them with their mortgage for 6 months and it's going to get them through the short period, but that might really affect the next 20 years of their life. Like here's an example. Like if the government puts a bunch of money, like stimulus money into the economy, like a shit ton of money. Oh, I hate myself. So what it does is it causes something called inflation. Should I even go down this road?
Yeah, 100%.
Fuck.
I think
these people
I think
who
most people
think that-
understand.
Okay, yeah, like these
at
people who
least
think
the bare
there's
minimum, but like
Yeah.
don't really understand how it's going to affect them.
like
personally.
people like they think like, hey, they like we need help right now in the economy. The economy needs help, but like shit, if like inflation isn't something that is going to be gone in 3 or 4 years, like you might get 6 months worth of no mortgage payments, but hey, Jim, you might have to pay $7 for a Big Mac in 2024. You know what I mean? Like, and that really doesn't hurt rich people. That hurts the middle class and lower class because when they go to buy something, like their buying power of their dollar is decreased. So like even the things you think like everyday things, like I don't know, let's say, well, what does a middle class person's grocery bill look like? Take away like a certain percentage of what they're able to afford now. And that's on every fucking thing. That's on cars, that's on groceries. And again, it's not hurting the rich as much as it's hurting the middle class. But like it's like, what do you do, man? It's like, what's that saying? Like die by something or something else? Die by a sword or anyways. Half dozen of one. Dozen of
great example.
fuck this. Half
Does it
dozen.
something to do with paper cuts?
I don't know, man.
What? So lost.
6 of one, half dozen of the other. Either way, we're fucked, basically.
Are you having clients ask what's going to happen in the real estate market?
Yes.
What's your response?
I don't know. I'm not a realtor, and I'm not an economist.
Why would you think a realtor would know?
Well, let's, yeah.
This is like unprecedented. We've never ever seen anything like this.
Again, going back to what I said earlier, like anywhere you keep your money, whether it's under your mattress, to in a bond, in a stock, anywhere, you are going to lose money. It's not going to keep its value. You are losing. You're losing this game today. So I think, in my opinion, personal opinion, that the real estate market is the safest place to keep money because people will always need a place to live. And like even that might go down, but I don't think it's gonna be as detrimental as like where like my stock portfolio. I don't even look at it anymore. I don't even care anymore.
Have you talked to realtors about this in terms of like what they're seeing today? It's so hard to predict. Like honestly, from my perspective, I have no idea what the next month, 2 months are going to look like. Literally no idea. I don't know if the government is going to go full quarantine for Canada and you have to stay home. You literally cannot leave your home for 2 weeks. I don't know if they're going to do that. If they do, obviously I can't sell a house.
Yeah. And like,
right?
and like, dude, like the thing is, man, like no one has a crystal ball.
Exactly.
Like if you had a crystal ball, you wouldn't be a realtor. I wouldn't be a mortgage specialist. Like we would just be like sitting on an island drinking rum because we know
money in stocks that are never going to go up and just hang out.
I would short sell everything. Yeah. I would bet against everything. But yeah, we don't have a crystal ball and it's hard to give people that advice. Basically, my strategy is to give them educate them on as much as I know and let them make a decision as an informed consumer. Mm-hmm. People who just don't want to learn about the process scare me because that's not, you need to understand what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Again, like people thinking like just sitting on cash, like just holding cash in their bank account's a good idea. Mm-hmm. That is not a good idea. Like that, like you are losing everywhere you turn. That's what it feels like to me, at least. I don't know where to put money.
So again, I don't want to sound like inconsiderate about the actual health scare that's going around the world right now, but at the same time, I feel like it's our opportunity to express to clients how they can better themselves moving forward in a financial way today. Yeah. So like, where is an opportunity with interest rates coming way down? Where's an opportunity for clients right now? Is it refinancing someone who had a fixed mortgage 3 years ago at 3.8?
Yeah.
Where's the opportunity with people right now?
Well, dude, there's a lot of ways that there is opportunity. It depends on like person to person situation, right? Like money cheap, but fixed rates just went up this like significantly this week from what they 2 weeks ago. I would have locked in at a fixed rate at 2.5% and just rode this whole thing out. But now they're up to 3.24, 3.34. You know, like
that high?
Yeah, man, and it changes. It changes so quickly. Like my phone. So all the lenders we work with. So let's say I work with like there's 100 lenders in Canada. Let's say I work with 20 of them. That I know their policies and procedures, so I'm very close with these lenders. They will like sometimes like on a normal occasion, like a normal week, I might get 2 or 3. Our rates are going up a little bit. I'm going down. Like some days now, it's like I'll get 20 emails in a day, being like, "We're going up, we're going up, we're going up." It means something's happening, Because my phone's just like going up, going up, going up, going up, going up. And I'm just like, I don't know how to really respond to it. And then variables are kind of like, again, that overnight lending rate is going down, which means variables are cheap right now. I feel like in times like this, the rich get richer in a way because they have the capital and the ability to acquire capital to make decisions, Yeah. Like if the housing market dips, right? It's usually not the lower middle class who benefits from that. It's going to be some guy who throws a mortgage on his $2 million house, buys 4 condos, and then in 4 years when the market's back up, he's just, I think there's a lot of opportunity. Anytime shit hits the fan, like for example, what I've been doing, I've been buying cruise ship stocks like a motherfucker. And every day they're just getting shit kicked more. And like, so that means I'm losing money on these, but there's like this expression, like don't try to catch the falling knife. It means never try to time something perfectly. So I buy the way down, I buy the way back up, but at least I'm guaranteed to catch that swing. You know what I mean? It's tough. I don't know where to put money, man. It's weird because it feels like you're losing everywhere.
Are you having a lot of people contact you regarding refinancing
Yes.
because the interest rates have dropped so much?
Yes. And people want, like, for example, I have a lot of people contacting me where they want to take money out of their current property. Like, they bought in 2014, their house appreciated, I don't know, 100% or whatever. And now they have a shit ton of equity. Now they want to take out that equity and buy rental properties. And so if that market dips, right, that like condo market dips, there's going to be a huge opportunity for those people who are now going in. They don't even need a fucking mortgage because they put this mortgage on their own house. They can go in with cash offers. Hey, I'll buy this $400,000 condo in the US. I'll buy two. And then, in 5 years, like now they have renters in there paying that mortgage and now they have this appreciating asset. So I think there's opportunity there. Again, that's not me offering investment advice, but that is what I think. If it was my if it was my decision, that's what I do.
Even just stocks have got hit so much recently that like a lot of people hold investment properties in Greater Vancouver. The rent is very high, but like could be a pretty good opportunity right now to get out of real estate while it's fairly high still. Like in the last couple of weeks, market values haven't really gone down. Like getting out and using that capital in other ways that have been hit so much harder, right?
Yeah, but then, man, when you start doing stuff like that, like obviously you're exposing yourself to risk, right? You're getting something that's kind of consistent, and you're going to something like stocks. They move way. They're much more liquid than a house is.
Mm-hmm.
Like people can trade and sell hundreds of thousands, like buy and sell hundreds of $1,000s in a day. You can't really do that with with your house. You know what I mean? So you're kind of like, I don't know. I'm a pretty aggressive investor, but I'm not that aggressive. I would not sell my place, take all my eggs, and put them in the stock market. That is not what I would do. But shit, do whatever you want, man. You only live once.
You think
Roll
it's
the
been
dice.
down for that long?
No, like
when was the last time you saw this big of a dip in stock market? Was it 2008?
2000. Yeah, the housing crisis in the United States, and like
And how quickly did it bounce back?
within 2 years, you're making like it's above where it started. But the thing is, and this is I hate saying this again, but it's the people who it's not the millionaires and billionaires who are losing money here. It's like someone's mom who's like 56 years old and close to retirement. She gets scared shitless. She's seen her portfolio go down 30%. Now she's like, holy shit, I'm gonna have to work for another 6 years. She sells, then she realizes that loss when you sell. And when she's selling, it almost makes me sick. I hate this world. Fuck this. But when she's selling, there's an army of investment bankers on Wall Street buying that shit up and catching an upswing, because they don't have it's crazy, man. I wish I could just help all the people, but I can't help all the people. But yeah, like if people who are like getting out and going to cash right now, I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea because you don't really lose money until you go to cash when you sell your stock.
Mm-hmm.
If your Microsoft portfolio went down 25%, you have not lost a goddamn cent until you sell those because you still own the same amount of shares.
Yeah.
Because if you sell them, I promise you there is someone who will buy them when they're this low. Like look at me buying cruise ship stocks because people want to sell them because they're just it's a what's it called, dumpster fire? It's a disaster. They're gonna crash, and I'm buying them because I know that when this does blow over, you got an army of baby boomers, an army entering their cruise ship years. And that you're buying something that was $100 a share for $20 a share for an industry that's supposed to explode, and it could be $200 a share in 10 years. So that's what 2,000% increase. Anyways, that's kind of my strategy. I'm not trying to give investment advice.
Carl, are you seeing much of a change in like the home reno contractor industry?
Absolutely not. Right now I'm working in North Vancouver. There's like 4-story condos going up everywhere. All the trades are there. Everyone is there. It's just as busy as it would be if this wasn't going on.
So people aren't concerned, even on a smaller scale for you guys, like people aren't concerned about having you, like let's say strangers, like different people coming into their homes.
I'm sure a lot, they just ignore it and just look for a quick buck to save or whatever.
Yeah.
But personally, I refuse to go into someone's house right now. We're just doing landscaping and working outside. But like when I look across the street, all the other trades, everyone's just doing their own thing.
So you guys aren't doing any interior renos right now?
No, not right now. No, we're all outside right now.
Have you had to stop projects?
No, we've been super lucky. Like right before this hit, we finished our last one that we were doing inside, and now the weather's nice, so we're outside for the next little bit.
So have you postponed stuff though?
Nothing yet.
No?
No.
Okay.
I think right now is a good time to get people to work on the outside of your house.
Totally. Hey?
Yeah.
I wonder, like, from a real estate perspective, I would just wonder, like, what people's perceptions are. So, like, if you did have a big reno that you were in the middle of, and you said, like, sorry guys, I feel uncomfortable for the next couple weeks. Let's work on the outside, or I got to go do a landscaping job over here instead.
For sure. Or if
don't feel comfortable.
If the customer approaches you and asks that, for sure, you have to walk away.
Yeah.
What else can you do, right? It's scary stuff.
You know, I was actually talking to a realtor who was saying that she has doing an open house, and all these people are coming in, and it's her job to do this open house, and she did everything she could, like handing out, sanitizing, like hand wipes and stuff like that. But like ultimately, like she's doing her job, but she feels like her job's putting her at risk. And I told her, I was like, you know, you got to kind of like, no one else is going to care as much about you as you need to care about yourself. So like, if you feel uncomfortable, you got to verbalize that. Like with your employers, if like there's something that makes you genuinely uncomfortable, and people will take advantage of that, but if you don't feel comfortable, you have to take care of yourself.
The BC Real Estate Association this afternoon, issued a statement saying an immediate end to open houses. So most prominent realtors had kind of stopped booking open houses in the last couple of weeks just to avoid groups, really, and had gone to private showings. But the BCRA actually announced that today.
So you can still do private showings, just absolutely no open houses?
So that's how we've kind of adjusted, is just doing one-on-one showings. It's a difficult position to be in. Like, clients still want to buy and sell.
Yeah.
And we feel a bit obligated to be out there doing these types of events. Obviously it's a bit uncomfortable, and like people walking through are like trying to stand a distance away from you and don't want to touch door handles, and they ask you to open doors, which, you know, whatever, it is what it is. It's strange.
But then like the person selling the house too has a bunch of random strangers walking through their house touching it, right?
And we're just having those conversations with people saying like, look, what is your comfort level? Do you want to proceed? Do you want to postpone? I don't know if it's going to be a 3-week postponement or like 3, 4, 5 months. Like, I don't know. I don't know if the market's going to go down. I know that inventory is really low right now. Yeah. I know that people are still asking to see places. So what would you like to do? It's kind of like putting the...
How comfortable are you? Essentially, right? What else can you do?
Yeah, I don't know. Socially, it's uncomfortable. Like the interactions are extremely awkward right now.
There's no handshaking, right? Because that's frowned upon. You kind of have to have a distance between you and the other person. So it is really awkward.
It is awkward. Yeah. Totally is awkward. In terms of like the private showings one-on-one, they don't really make me feel uncomfortable. It's more just like the social interactions with other people are strange. It's strange. Like walking across the street to the grocery store, like people walking on the other side of the street are like looking at you like they're going to kill you. Like you're going to kill them. It's so strange walking around outside right now.
Or even just like meeting someone new and just going to shake their hand and they're like, no, we shouldn't do this right now.
No, I know.
All these little things.
Yeah. How much you take for granted, like even in like a normal flu season, like I still meet people every day, shake their hand. Is that passing it along? I have no idea.
I wonder if this can be a sign of like a serious societal change. Like maybe we will not go back to shaking hands.
Do you think?
I think so too.
How long have people been shaking hands for?
Ever.
Hundreds and hundreds of years.
And I'm a huge hugger, right? So I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Like I love hugs. So like every time I see someone, I'm just like elbow bump.
I don't think you're even allowed to do that right now.
Yeah,
I just wave at people.
But like honestly, like I love.
Hey, Carl.
I'm loving the glass half full approach a lot of people are having, man. Because a lot of people are out there like going out of their way to help, like do other things. Like, you know, people are like when I like I know there's some assholes out there like, stockpiling food. Yeah, I know that like there's always gonna be those people. There's always gonna be assholes in society, right? But like when I went to the grocery stores, I've seen people like being like really nice to each other, like being very patient with each other, being cordial. Like no one's freaking. I saw one guy take a package of ground pork out of a woman's hand, and it was kind of aggressive. But besides that, there's nothing.
Out of a woman's hand?
No, she was looking at it. And it was like there was no meat left, and I guess they must have grabbed it at the same time. He just went, ugh.
Oh my god.
I've heard a couple stories of just people grabbing toilet packet or toilet paper rolls from
The
other
toilet
people's
paper
cars
thing
and
is
just running
just,
for it. Yeah.
It just boggles my mind, man. It boggles my mind.
It's
They're
such
like,
a herd mentality, man. That's all it is.
It's like talk about people being sheep. Like, it's crazy. Like, if you are stuck inside
Yes.
for 6 months, do you know how much more important shit there is to have than toilet paper? Have a shower, son. Have a shower.
Anything.
You can use other material.
Totally. Like, and like people are like that's the thing they take. It's really interesting.
Guys, we also have like 3 TP plants like in US and like in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Like there's
Kroger,
no
right?
shortage.
Kroger's in the
yeah,
US, and they
Scott's isn't.
yeah.
Yeah. It's not a shortage at all. I heard that this whole thing started in like Hawaii, right? Which is something completely different. Apparently they don't have their own refineries or whatever. So everything has to be brought in. And that's why people were freaking out. But that doesn't apply here at all. Completely different
I
situation.
asked some lady at Save on Foods yesterday, I'm like, what's the secret around toilet paper? She's like, there isn't really one. We get it every morning at 7 and it's gone in 10
People
minutes.
just grabbing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like,
it's
we
still
still get
there.
the shipment
Yeah.
every day. It's
But what's
insane.
gonna happen? Honestly, like what's gonna happen now is like people are gonna have a lifetime supply of toilet paper.
Oh, yeah. And toilet paper is going to be on sale forever.
Yeah.
I hope this blows over like fairly quickly. Like, let's say a month, 6 weeks from now, we're like way through it, and people are just stuck with like $30,000 worth of Lysol wipes, just trying to sell them on Amazon.
And
Or
Costco's not
Craigslist, yeah.
taking it
Honestly,
either.
I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to the meat sales. Again,
Oh.
watch this be
How
April 15th
old is the
and
meat
like
going to be though?
well, hopefully frozen. Like freeze a turkey last.
Are you going to trust some random
Yeah.
asshole in Abbotsford?
Meet me in my garage.
Buy some meat from this guy?
Hey, got any of that T-bone? Watch this be like April 15th and people are like laughing at how fucking dumb we are. They had no idea what was coming. That would be awesome. Actually, that'd be horrible, but it would be situational irony, which I'd appreciate.
I think we're all pretty open minded in terms of like we have no idea what's next.
Totally.
It came up super quick, and so I don't think anyone is really prepared for it. And I honestly have like it's so hard to predict. I have no clue.
I gotta say,
I don't know. I could think it's equally as possible that in 2 weeks from now, like they say I'm not allowed to leave my house. I cannot show houses, like no more listings on MLS, versus like 2 or 3 or 4 weeks from now, it just goes back to normal society. I think both things are equally as possible.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one is more likely. I have no idea.
I know like news from China always isn't the best resource in terms of like factual and like honest, but I heard that like they're closing down like a lot of their emergency hospitals and life is starting to resume back to normal there.
I saw something recently that like all Apple stores in like one of the major city had reopened and like employees were back to work and stuff like that in China too.
Right. But they were 3 months ahead of us, so that could be
And they're extremely
was their
aggressive.
turnaround?
yeah.
What was their turnaround? Like 10 to 12 weeks?
I think so, somewhere around there.
Almost 3
Just
months?
over 3 months.
Because it started probably when? Early December?
Yeah. Even
like
late November, kind of. Mid-November, yeah, somewhere around there. But like they would go to your condo and they would just bar you inside and you can't leave. They block your door and you can't leave and that's it.
Man, you know,
No wonder it's gone. Like
I have so many times in my life, like I'm way before this happened, I would dare say hundreds of times in my life thought, how long could I survive off what I have in this apartment right now? And I always think in my head, it's always a game show. Like, can't this guy survive for 6 months with nothing else? And I'm like looking at like flour and water. I'm like, shit, I can make a lot of bread here. Like, I think like I am the type of guy who I buy groceries 3 times a week just for myself, like very, like, you know, 15, 20 bucks. And like, that's what I've been doing. But that means I don't have a lot of groceries. Like if you look at it looks like a bachelor fridge, right? Like some salsa, some coconut milk, and like a Brita water filter. That's it. Like that's everything. If I want to make some that
So
night,
probably not 6 months.
dude, I swear to God, I think I could do 6 months. I got some chickpeas. I love hummus. I've been waiting to use those guys.
you just have to lie in your apartment, not use any calories.
Yeah, like man, like yeah, as long as I have water, I feel like I can really survive. I'm like 200 pounds. I'd obviously lose a lot of weight, but I gotta say, I think 6 months.
Is there next challenge or what?
Yeah, the 4 growler challenge. No, the 6 month challenge.
All right, let's get out of here. I want to do a couple more of these with just like different people from different industries and just kind of getting a sense of how their businesses are changing.
Yeah, I guess to summarize, no one really knows what the hell's happening in the mortgage industry. Banks are confused. The government's confused. The government's throwing a bunch of money at the problem, but we don't know how to allocate that money. Yeah, so right now it's basically right now no one knows what's happening. That's basically it.
I think it's important to note that like our two industries are fairly like let's say like recession proof almost, in terms of like people still need a place to live.
Totally.
People are going to refinance, especially when interest rates are dropping. They're going to take advantage of
Like
cheaper
my
money.
business might change from
The
doing
way you can
70% purchases
Sure.
to 70% either rental purchases or non-owner occupied
Yeah.
and refinancing.
Yeah.
But they're still like I'm as busy now as I've ever been.
But there's so many other entrepreneurs, local business type people that are just like hurting like significantly right now because people aren't leaving their houses.
Totally. And again, like I'm pretty much a glass half full guy all the time, but like I'm seeing things like people are like really supporting their small businesses now, you know, like if we're going to get takeout, we're not going to go to like whatever, like McDonald's, we're going to go to this little cafe, you know, like they have a little takeout thing. Like people are like, I think, I don't know. I dare say I'm kind of proud to be Canadian at times like this because I feel at least like people are coming together where they're not being as, you know, because there's always going to be assholes, but mostly people are being pretty good about it.
To add on to that, I've seen lots and lots of Facebook groups or just notices on condominiums of people offering their help just to get groceries deliveries for people that can't go out.
Exactly.
Yeah. You see that a lot.
Yeah. And there's so many ways people are helping too. It's not just groceries, it's offer acts of service. Yeah, totally.
It's cool to see how creative some business owners are being in terms of just adapting super quickly and
distilleries making hand sanitizer.
Okay,
yeah,
the one who did that, I would like to say something. My mom was from a town called Antigonish, Nova Scotia. Absolutely,
3,000 people.
It's such a small town. It is small town Canada, like Tim Hortons and roast beef. That is the lifestyle, you know. And that distillery who did that, Steinhardt Distillery, is in Arisaig, which is just outside Antigonish, Nova Scotia. He's a 5th generation distiller from Germany, makes some absolute fire gin, vodka. The guy, right away, he's we're going to make hand sanitizer. And they started distilling it. And I read it on CBC. God damn, I was proud of that guy. I met him one time. Great guy. German as fuck.
And yet, we can't find it anywhere. It's okay. It's so obviously our businesses are changing in terms of any interactions. We're being extremely cautious. We're trying to bring cleaning supplies to showings and wiping down door handles and light switches and stuff like that, and hand sanitizer for people on the way in. But it's so hard to find that stuff because people are just stocking it in their garage.
Yeah, but
I just want one bottle, one of each.
I don't know.
One
What's
Lysol.
this guy gonna do with 40 hand sanitizers?
40? Try 15,000, man. These people are just stocking them. It's not 40.
I don't know. It's also interesting. I remember right before this happened, there was all those protests.
Yeah.
Those kind of stopped, eh?
Yeah,
Stopped very
completely
quickly.
gone.
Those are gone. There was where are those guys now?
Well, you're not allowed to be in a group of more than 50 people.
Problem
It'd
solved.
be a pretty lame protest to have 8 people there.
Yeah.
Spaced out.
I don't know. I think society's coming together, and those people who are doing bad things, there will always be people that take advantage of the system. There will always be that. I think they're kind of getting called out on their bullshit a little bit.
That's the good thing about social media is they're so visible now.
Totally.
But how does Canada not have any pandemic laws? How is this legal to do stuff like this? Don't you think?
Well, it's not this time next week. I don't think you're going to be able to.
Do you think they can introduce something pretty quick? Eh?
Totally. Whether it's rationing or something, because it's just it's
Hoarding,
there's it's absolutely insane. It's so far off the curve. It's what, you're going to take 400 bottles of hand sanitizer? It makes no sense, right?
And it's just for profit in a freaking devastating situation.
Was it BC that announced a state of emergency?
Well, City of Vancouver did.
It's
City
by
of
city.
Vancouver did.
Yeah.
So in that state of emergency, it gives the local government more power. I don't know if you can find that list quickly, Carl. I was reading an article yesterday and it just listed some of the
I know
things.
that they can enter space.
You can enter any building.
They can take over condos and stuff, right? If they need to.
They can ration food or set prices of food as well. There was a bunch of things that it listed. It was quite interesting. I don't know if they're at that point yet.
Yeah, they have the power to prevent crazy buying. So they can't limit stuff.
Honestly, that works for me, man.
Because a lot of the grocery stores now have those signs up saying you can only buy 2 packages of this whatever paper product or whatever it is.
How much groceries do people eat? I read on Facebook some families are spending $1,600 on groceries a week. How is that possible?
Insane. That's insane.
That's insane, right?
Yeah.
I'm I literally spend, I'm not kidding, $60 a week, and I'm a pretty big dude. I eat a lot. But how are you spending that much money on groceries? It makes no sense.
That's way too much. I'd say like 400 to 500 for like a family of 4 a week.
That
would
still
be
seems high
doable.
to me. Like $500
Like comfortable.
Like, you know how many
Comfortable.
goddamn apples you can buy? You can buy 1,500 apples.
Not right now.
No, that just seems like crazy. Like, I think people just need to be smart and like communities need to come together. You know who's gonna have no problem getting through this shit? Small towns, because they're
Right.
so community based, right? Whereas like bigger cities, people are very much like dog eat dog, like
Totally.
me and my family first. Where communities, it's kind of like everyone needs each other.
All right. Let's get out of here. I'm sure things are going to change in the next couple weeks, and this podcast could be totally irrelevant. But then we just get to do.
I don't know. This podcast is like what's those things called? Time capsule. We'll see.
Sure.
We might look back on this in a couple of years and be like, wow, everyone's dead now. How wrong were those guys talking about the real estate market?
A couple of years.
Wow.
Jeez.
Love you guys.
All right.